So here we go. Boom. Live with Matt Burke, Metals, Movies, and Brewskis. How's it going, man?
Awesome, man. How you doing?
Good. Good to see you. I was on your channel a week or two ago. Now you're on mine, which is nice. Nice to do the exchange.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah. It's like we can each say that we're a friend of the channel now the next time we come on.
Right?
Matt Burke, a friend of the channel, frequent
Yep.
guest. Real quick, Richard Lusur says, fill us in on that Mad Max comic.
Oh,
I did. I think I have that. So this is my thing, but I just did an update email, and is it? Yeah. So whatever. This is it. So it's just like a little fun one-page comic. But I've been keeping some stuff exclusive, just for the email list. Where I normally would have posted this on Twitter, and you kind of try and get that dopamine, get those likes or whatever. But
Oh, yeah.
I got a new plan, and I'm like, no. There, it's sort of like how you might run a Patreon even, but I'm not doing that. I'm just doing the email list, but I'm like, there's some exclusive content just for the email list, so sign up. And I guess even showing it here is like not exactly exclusive, but people, the few people watching getting a little sneak preview of just a random kind of fun Mad Max fan comic I did.
I noticed the art too. You tweaked. There's a little difference in style in there. Just in those 5 panels, I noticed. Little.
Yeah,
different
that's
than normal stuff.
thanks. Yeah, good point. And because it's drawn traditionally, so it changes a little bit of like how it turns out, kind of.
Hey, I love it, man. I love your normal stuff and that too. It looks cool. I got a lot of different different artists when you just showed it me right now. Badass.
Nice. Dark Gifts here. How's it going, man? And
fancy.
he's like you. He likes metal, doesn't he? Or I don't know.
Oh yeah,
He's like,
he's a
yeah.
metalhead.
Nice. Yeah. And Preston is here.
Oh yeah, what's
Caleb.
up, Preston?
So yeah, 5 people watching. So you guys check out. So the book is Butch Cleaver. There's 2 issues out now, which is cool. It's always nice that it's a continuing series. You're just sticking to your guns. How long is the series eventually going to be?
Well, right now, it's basically just the first 2 graphic novels, and I worked on it for 10 years, so it's my baby, my first one, and I did 2 of them. But you're gonna see hopefully growth throughout each book. You know what I mean? As far as writing, art, lettering, stuff like that. And
Cool.
I have the 3rd book already written, as far as the script and whatnot. That'll be Butch Cleaver Carnival Freak Show Circus, and that one's not gonna come out for a while. But there's plenty of content right here or story for you guys to check out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Graphic novels are the first one's 72 pages, the second one's 52 pages.
Okay.
And, so yeah, but right now I'm working on the book. I'm just kind of like you, Narwhal, in that regard, where I like to jump around and do different stuff. You know? So,
Oh, nice. Yeah, I am like that. Yeah, I was going to ask how many pages, and that's cool. So yeah, it's like between the 2 of them, that's 120 pages. And yeah, it even if it's like indie style art or whatever, I love it. Like I love the kind of aesthetic, and yeah, and the more you do it, like you're saying, that continues to, because it's been a long project, right? Like 10 years or whatever.
yeah, I started it back in 2011, I think. But and then I did the first book. I trashed it, went back, did it again. If I could, I'd probably redo it again. But you have to keep moving forward. You can't keep remaking the same story.
Yeah.
That eventually you got to put a nail in it, and you got to keep moving on. You got to keep the pages going. So that's yeah. Now we're here, and it's that many years later. So I spent a lot of time with Butch Cleaver in the town Oubliette, and kind of wanted to give them a little break for a little while, but have this store up right now. So if people want to pick up the books, they're there. The first 30 backers are going to get 6 trading cards. They're going to get 2 6 a.m. stickers, a bumper sticker, a button, a wanted poster that's 11 by 17. And yeah, man, it's basically like a tchotchke tier that I'm giving the first 30 backers. I call it the meat wagon tier. So
Oh, nice. Cool. Yeah, and it's got cool storytelling too. It's got like all the paneling is really cool.
thanks, man.
Yeah. Yep, it looks really sweet. So, to 9 people watching, I mean, check out this one is potentially slightly lesser known, but this is like a sweet indie comic full color. It probably takes a long time to draw it and color it per page, I bet. Too.
Yeah. I'm probably the next one. Like I might like the next Butch Cleaver. I'll probably color it because it's going to be Carnival Freak Show Circus, and I want to have a lot more colors. But after that, I'm probably like my new approach, man. I'm doing black and white, brother. Like I really just like really digging the black and white stuff. So and I don't have to worry about the colors too much either. So it's like two birds in one stone. So yeah,
Yeah. What program do you use to color?
Photoshop.
Oh, nice. And are the inks traditional or is that Photoshop too?
The inks are traditional.
Okay, and then you scan it in.
Yeah, scan it in.
Cool. That's a fun process.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at this guy. That's awesome.
It's Vigo Mortis,
Oh, nice.
the Hunchback. Yeah, in the story, it's basically there's a butcher in this town called Oubliette, and it's a gothic western, and the town is it's filled with ghost goons and ghouls and crazy banditos and pirates and Vikings, and I wanted to make a world of stuff that I like to draw, and try to make a cohesive story. And basically, Butch he's murdered and he's brought back to life by this voodoo curse with a voodoo doll, and that gives him this power to kind of control bone at will. He can weaponize it with a single thought, and you're going to get that in the first issue. And he comes back and he's trying to learn his new powers. He's resurrected in this bone abbey, and he hatches from a bone cocoon. And there's this character named Moth Mammon who kind of trains him on how to fight and whatnot. Butch is very blue collar, but so he doesn't really know how to use it. He just usually does knives and whatnot. He comes back and he's trying to figure out who killed him. There's also a bounty hunter on his trail, and there's this meat, kind of like a meat baron that was his old boss named the Whitey Ratatouille, and he was selling rotten meat to the townsfolk of Oubliette. And there's this character called the Voodoo Doll, and he's a preacher pimp. And so whenever you do business with him, he makes a voodoo doll of you. And basically, it's like an insurance policy. So if you step out of line, he turns you into a cactus or a pincushion. So that's what happened to the White Rat and his main meat cutter, Butch Cleaver. So Butch, you'll see in the second book, the first half of it is his straight up origin. And it's Joe's when his family met in Ireland. They came over here. They bought an abandoned cathedral and retrofitted it into a slaughterhouse. His dad gets murdered, and that's part of the story as well. He's trying to figure out who killed him and who killed his dad. So there's two things that are going on.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Thanks, man. I know it's a lot. It's two books, and it's a lot of shit going on. So
he's got this like cow guy too.
Yes. So I wanted him to have like a companion, and someone to talk to early on. And I made a bull. I wanted to do a mummified bull. I thought it'd be something fun to draw. And that's basically like his Batmobile and his Robin put together,
Cool.
So
that's awesome. Oh damn! Look at this detail. This is sweet.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that's for the first page on the first book. That's Oubliette. I kind of wanted to just open the world up and let people know like what they're kind of getting into. It's a little far out, but it looks hopefully fun. And maybe they'd be down to go on like a little ride.
So is it a little? I guess might predate, but it gives little vibes of like Bloodborne. Have you heard of that game?
So yes. So when that came out, I was like, oh man, this is like exactly like the type of thing that I would. So I totally like stayed away from it, so I wouldn't get any like influences. And every now and then it would pop up in Google or in a Diamond magazine, and I'd look at it like, damn, that looks sick, but I tried to stay away from it because I try to keep. I didn't want there to be any influences because I'm gonna get influenced by stuff no matter what I see. I'm influenced by everything I see, so I gotta like filter so much.
Yeah. That's cool. The ways that it's its own thing. It's a good like companion piece though. That's a little almost like it pitches like if people like Bloodborne, this is like a cool indie comic.
For sure, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go back and play those too. And that's the Voodoo Doll and the Butch Voodoo Doll and
Voodoo's a cool magic system
right?
too. Just like there's actually kind of a lot to it that's fun.
Like Shadow Man. I don't know if you read those comics. Some of them were pretty cool. The game was different, but I played the game too, and it's totally like you got the two different fans, and it was crazy.
Yeah. Snuggie says Babe is better than Mad Max. I've heard. I think he says that a lot, and it's funny. It's because
Babe,
of the
the pig, or
yeah, because that George Miller. It's like he directed and maybe wrote Babe
that's right.
in the '90s.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah,
I'm actually I like Mad Max. I like the post-apocalyptic, genre. Um,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited to see Furiosa, and
Me too. I like some of these really high panel pages too. That's fun too.
I wanted to. I'm really into fight choreography and like martial arts films, Hong Kong films, just action in general. And I wanted to. I always try to put a page in there, a book or a page in each issue where there's like 16 to 20 little cartoons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, this panel's sweet too. Phew.
thanks.
Yeah. Shoot, what was I gonna say? Oh, so it's Gothic Western? Is that what you said it is? Like Gothic Western?
Definitely, like it's I would say it's like a gothic horror western with dark fantasy mixed in.
Okay.
Yeah, and it takes place like in an alternate, basically like a parallel universe to this one. So the town Oubliette would be somewhere between Texas and Louisiana, and it's every other building is like a cathedral or a saloon or like a French Quarter building. So I was inspired by like Paris, London, Texas, and yeah, sorry, Louisiana, New
Oh
Orleans.
yeah. Cool. That's a cool combination of genres. Like that kind of Western is cool. There's a handful of those books in the indie sphere right now too. So it's like this is a cool one to make sure. Again, like if people are fans of that genre, just know that this exists.
Oh yeah,
And it's like 120 pages is a good like part of the pitch too. Like this is a full story you can jump in and check out. 12 people watching. Thanks for looking. But you can kind of see how badass it is. But yeah, the other genre that you're kind of talking about is like where it's a completely different world. And that's a lot of fun. And sometimes it's like, it can be, I don't know, for me, it can be like hard to write because you got to do a lot of work almost before you can even write the story. But then
yeah.
you don't want to get bogged down in like the world building. But like if you write in the real world, you're just like, yeah, it's like our world, whatever. There's like cops and there's like shipments and there's electricity and phones, blah blah blah. But then if you're doing your own thing, it's like, no, this is like totally different, and let me explain it to you, kind of thing.
Yeah, like maybe there's just like a little tweak. Like for mine, like I basically have all my universe, the Runecutter-verse, it's all together. So like the next book I'm doing is Hell War. That's the one I'm doing right now. It's a Viking bounty hunter, right? And everything, the whole like Viking apocalypse, Ragnarok happened, and everything kind of stayed the same. But I mean, you go over to Norway, and the world serpent's carcass is probably still laying there. You know what I mean? And certain things kind of there might be some fallen gods laying around the earth and stuff like that. And so it's kind of like if you go into like Marvel or DC, how they have like 50, two universes that are almost the same shit, it's there's Louisiana, there's things there, but just everything's just a little tweaked, so.
Yeah, cool. Is there any Spawn influence in this with the guy coming back? Cool.
Oh, for sure. Like I did a stream too where I had like at least 10. Yeah, for sure, man. So many influences. Evil Dead, Army of Darkness.
Oh, nice.
Dark Man. Yeah,
Yeah.
Hellboy. Swamp Thing's a big influence on him. Jonah Hex. Batman.
Cool.
Gotham is a big influence on Oubliette. Gotham
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, because Gotham is almost like that, where it's like not a real city. It's almost like a parallel dimension, where it's like really kind of dark and
the shadow. It's like when you ask me like what the influence is, I'm like a deer in the headlights because I have like there's probably like 15 to 20 like little mini influences,
Yeah.
And if you go, hey, that looks, yeah, you got me.
Nice. Crenshaw, is this the correct spelling for Narwhal Nuge? Yes, it is. If you guys back it, let me know. We'll update it. We'll see the numbers go up, and then we all get a little dopamine, which is nice. Guy in his room, what's up? Spelling varies depending on the emphasis. Delay. What's up? Yeah. So are these trading cards we're looking at now, or?
Yeah, I put a lot of stuff on this page just because there's a lot of stuff in there. Normally, like for a campaign, you probably, especially nowadays, probably want to keep it short and sweet, and like really tease people and allure them and intrigue them. That's how I think, especially with like AI now, coming. I'm thinking campaigns you probably want to show less, but this, it's like a buffet, a visual buffet.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, and Preston was in the chat earlier, and here's a trading
Yeah.
card by Preston. That's awesome.
Yeah, man, he's the homie. There's death metal hero. He's in my top 3 favorite artists of all time. Big
Yeah,
influence.
he is. He is like, I don't know, can hold his own with any classic artist almost because he does the fully painted stuff too. And
Yeah, Renaissance dude.
yeah,
I'm terrified of painting. I've never even I did like in kindergarten, but that's maybe next year I want to try to learn how to paint. That's what I want to do later on in life. I want to retire like on the beach in Mexico or Spain or France or somewhere and paint metal shit. So
yeah, nice.
there's that stuff. That's the wanted poster too. It's pretty big. It's 11 by 17. Came out pretty cool. Yeah.
Did you draw this one?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, this is badass.
Thanks, man. Yeah, in the book, he as the story like goes on, his appearance kind of changes, and he has different like his hat will change, and he gets more bone ornamentation. But right when he comes back, he's just wearing like his street gear because before he died, he was like an enforcer for the White Rat. Like during the day, he would go to different establishments and ask for tribute, like the mafia.
Yeah.
And, when he came back, he just put on that regular attire, and then you can see, he also wanted to go about town as this skeletal phantasm, the dead bones, Butch Cleaver. So for him to do that, he manifested this kind of like rag like mask over his face too. So that was it. He's got his big cauliflower cheekbones.
Yeah, nice. What did you say the book you're working on now is? It's a black and white one.
Yeah, it's going to be a big magazine-sized book. It's called Hell War. It's about a bounty hunter that's he's basically he works for Helnora, which is the goddess of hell, and he's on his last mission. He's been working for her for like thousands of years, and since after Ragnarok, she has his brother locked up in Helheim. So he's like, all right, I'm on my last mission for you. I'm gonna do this thing for you, and then my brother's gonna get set free. But something happens and it doesn't really go the way it's planned, but it was my way to kind of make my Thor and Hulk and Lobo book, basically like flat out, straight up, like, with a little bit of like a lot of underground 90s influence, black and white stuff. And very, very metal. There's going to be at least one song. So like with this book, I made a song for this with my band and my buddy Dave. And I tried to do that. So that's what I'm working on now. I'm like 51 pages in. It's probably gonna be about 80 pages. It's just, you know how it is, Narwhal. You probably keep your stuff very amorphous and unchained as far as your books. And when you're actually in there, like getting it done, you come up with new ideas. And
yeah, it's fun to be able to do that when you're your own writer kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully next year I could launch that, but it'll get done when it'll get done. But it's like, I got like 2 to 4 hours a day to do it. So it's kind of tricky.
Yeah. Is it the same, and it's the same universe as Butch Cleaver?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it like kind of the same timeline even, or is it a little bit different?
No, it's going to take place in the 90s, and then this one takes place in the 1800s. And I left it 1800s. That way you never really know if it's like 1801 or 1899. I could be more blanket statement, gray. I could do more with it. If I want to bring in different historical figures and whatnot, I could do that. Same thing with the 90s. I really like that era with metal because that book's got a big metal thing to it as well, and metal subculture as well, Hell War. I don't know, it's just fun like doing my take on the Norse myth, like how am I going to draw hell, how am I going to draw Loki if he's in here, stuff like that.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Another
thing I'm noticing that's kind of cool is it's like his coat has like at least 2 collars, like in this drawing. Like, is that what you call it? Like these collar flaps? He's got like 2 here coming down.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, and on this cover, I kind of wanted to have it like you kind of see from the bottom up to how he's kind of changing as a child, and then a street enforcer, and then when he hatches, and then kind of going up.
Cool. Sorry it's another like possible influence, but just something it reminds me of that's cool is there's a movie. What's it called? Jeepers Creepers. You ever seen that one?
Oh yeah, yeah, that movie's awesome.
Yeah, and he kind of looks like the Jeeper Creeper. And again, I think your idea it's good because you predate. I'm not saying like you're ripping off Jeeper Creeper. I'm just saying two cool things. But I like his the way he has these clawed rims on his flaps of his like coat kind of thing. That's really awesome.
Little hooks,
Yeah,
little blades. I was trying
yeah,
to put blades wherever I could, like even on his hat. I wanted it to look more like basically like kind of like a horn, if you will, but also blades at the top, just to kind of tweak it a little bit, like at the very top. Later on, it
nice.
starts to, I don't know, just trying to do different things.
Is
Um,
it yeah? Is it the kind of thing where you're just drawing him hundreds of times so he kind of evolves a little bit?
exactly. Like I wanted, he had more like of a fedora type hat when I first brought him out, kind of like Freddy Krueger. And then it just kept changing and changing, and then I was like, nah, but I don't want a cowboy hat either because that shit's played out. I want something a little different.
Yeah,
But then I kind of wanted something across between a cowboy hat and a fedora. But yeah, but he looks
yeah,
dope. Like I think he looks dope with a cowboy hat. Like Preston draws him with a cowboy hat, and I think, yeah. And the thing is, like, if people do the character, they could do whatever they want with him. You know, he's kind of I've been told, a fun character to draw, kind of in some ways. So
yeah. It's a kind of creativity that I like too, where the inspiration can kind of just come from the character. Like the name of the comic is the name of the character,
yeah,
and like he's got cool powers. You could just make him have an adventure, and that's the story kind of thing. And
oh
you
yeah.
can build out the world that way.
Like
Yeah. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
oh, sorry. No, I was just gonna say, I could write this character for forever. That was one of the reasons why I put the origin in the second book. I would have milked it for 30 years if I could. But you know how it is, Narwhal. Like, you know exactly how it is. Like, we only have so much time. And the first issue, he's a slasher movie character. You know, he's like Jason. He's like Michael
Yeah.
Myers. You know, so how do you human with that? So I had to find. I'm like, damn, I got to inject his origin this early on, but I'm gonna have to do it because I want people to feel for him. And is he the
Yeah.
victim, the villain, or the victor? Is he a product of his own environment? Can this guy come back? Is he redeemable? You know, so you're gonna have to,
Yeah.
find out in the second one.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds cool. It does sound really cool, like the ingredients that you're mixing together. Even like when you're saying like a lot of Sam Raimi
Oh
influence.
yeah, definitely, man. I love Evil. Like Ash versus Evil Dead is my favorite TV show. That's my favorite. The Evil Dead's my favorite franchise.
Mm,
I love the camera. I mean, you being like in the film, you love the ram cam and the quick shots and stuff like that.
yeah,
The gore. Cronenberg was a big influence. The Fly, the body horror, stuff like that.
yeah.
I mean,
That's awesome.
a lot of film influence in Butch Cleaver.
Yeah, cool.
Comics. So
Yeah, and all the cards too is fun because it kind of does signify like some pretty sweet world building. Um, and it's fun. Like each adventure, you could just he meets these people, and then you can meet them again later. It's like they're not in every adventure or whatever, but they can always come back.
oh yeah, I got their power stats in the back, and like the opossum character, like I wanted to have like a cool like creature of the night, and I always thought like possums were like really kind of creepy and like just ferocious, but they have those big teeth, and they have a death grip, so I could use that. I can make them a submissionist, and they have like a tail like that's like leathery, so I give them a whip, and you can hang upside down with it, kind of like possums do in the tree, like little shit like that, And I wanted to make like a badass kind of like Wolverine kind of dude that they play dead playing possum, so I incorporated all that into the story, and I'd like to have him come back. And I like going back to the lore and the world building. I think it's cool that you could set up a lot of that too, but I think it's also fun to like kind of leave it mysterious for yourself.
Oh
So
yeah,
so I could come back, or I could get like someone to kind of help me, like to write this character. Hey, you like these characters I have?
yeah,
I haven't fleshed out his. I did a little bit, a couple notes for his origin, but I didn't get in there and like do a deep dive. Like, so if I want to do like a 20-page add-on of like the Voodoo Doll or Whitey Ratatouille or the old possums, and something like that for the future if I'm lucky.
yeah. I do that for Earthbound too, where I'll know the questions that I want answered, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'll make sure I kind of don't try to set up too many because that's kind of like that's where you get into like Lost J.J. Abrams style, where he's just throwing question after question, and sure it's like interesting. But then he doesn't answer any of them.
He doesn't
And
end it,
so,
right? Yeah.
yeah, but like, so Earthbound, it's like, yeah, everyone's curious about the Grand Prix. So I was like, okay, I'm curious about it too. So let's figure it out. So that was like part 2 is about that. And then now when I'm in that, there's like mention of a school where like the warriors who get like stolen away, they can get raised as they get reincarnated and they get raised as kids and brainwashed kind of. I'm like,
Crazy.
oh, that's where the third one is going to take place. I already know, but it's just one sentence in it's not even like Grand Prix was sort of a semi big part, but just unexplained of part 1. But the
Yeah.
school is only like one sentence in Grand Prix. I'm like, but that's where it'll go because I'm curious about that.
Yeah, and you got to keep that electricity for yourself and that intrigue for yourself. That way, it's fun for you, and you could, basically shoot that energy back at your reader. That's the way I see it too.
Yep, totally. So yeah, it's fun too when you say it's been like a 10-year process. What's your history with like comics, creativity, and even including music? Because you're a musician too, right?
Yeah, a certain degree. I mostly do like vocals and melodies. I play guitar a little bit, but I wouldn't really consider myself a guitar player. But I've written a couple songs on guitar. For me, I was just a big comic book nerd just growing up in school. Just like traditional. I've been drawing since I was 3 years old, and I think the first drawings I did was Batman, Dracula, Wolfman, and Frankenstein. So that was kind of how I started, and then I just been drawing and drawing, and I had made a comic book in high school. We had a publishing class. I totally forgot about that because you know how we do these like little like interviews and promotions and like crowdfunding comics and stuff, and I always forgot that I actually did a book like that. So that kind of like lit the bug. I grew up during the '90s, so I was totally into the whole like image boom and whatnot. I missed a lot of the underground stuff, and there's so much stuff that I'm looking for now. But anyways, as a kid growing up, I was really into like the Max and Spawn and Pit and growing up with that. Really into Mad Magazine though. Even before that, I was buying Mad Magazine like really young, and I was really into Mort Drucker. He was a massive influence on me. He's one of the biggest like growing up as a kid. Just I don't know. I was just really drawn to that. Really drawn to caricature art, caricature artists at theme parks. So I always try to draw people. I always draw them with big heads and little bodies, like in Mad Magazine. I was really into that. I just thought it was funny. I was doing that. I went to my first con at a young age. I think it was a Wizard Con in the Hilton in LA. And that my grandfather, my dad, and my uncle, they were all big comic nerds. And my grandpa was kind of like a pulp character, like in the 50s. He was a cop that kind of did some crazy stuff. He robbed banks and stuff, but he was really into like the Phantom and the Shadow and all these things, and he kind of got me into the pulp stuff too. So there was a lot of influence at a young age.
Cool.
And my uncle, he has some crazy stories too. So that kind of a little bit of influence right there. And then probably I went to high school, basically played in bands. And then I got to a certain point where I had to be a father and start, taking care of stuff and working and grinding. And then the wife was just like, "Hey, man, maybe you should take a crack at comics. You always wanted to do that as a kid, So I started doing that, and she kind of pushed me. And that's kind of when I started the Butch Cleaver. I had like a little, I think I woke up in the middle of the night and I ran downstairs and all the world and characters popped in my head. And I just started jotting them down. Like it just hit me like a tsunami. And
cool.
I did it, I wrote the script, I created the world, and then I did my first comic. It was dog shit. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do this over. And then I did the first issue, and that's kind of how I went from there. And then I, basically still make metal with my buddy Dave, and try to incorporate some of that with comics too. That's been my whole thing is metal and comics. So
yeah, nice. Yeah, and that's cool. It's the support of your wife kind of pushing you into it. That's awesome too.
Yeah, definitely.
By the way, we got Dark Gift still here. Snuggy, Well Read. How's it going, Well Read? Guy in his room, Caleb. It's a Henry Bemis. It's a good crew. That I think Dark Gift was saying something. A few more people have popped in. Yeah. This is so it's 12 people watching, but yeah, the regulars here are fun. I appreciate everyone popping in. It's good people, good little group we got hanging out and just talking about comics here for a little bit. We'll go another 10 or 15 minutes. I just want people to know about Butch Cleaver and just let it know it's out there. This is like, if you're talking indie comics, this is like perfect. You know, it's like, it's everything that I want an indie comic to be, which is like very passionate from the creator, very original, kind of very inspiring with what you bring to the table because you get to bring all this stuff that you've been cooking, you know.
Yeah.
And I find that inspiring too. So,
And I was a,
so
I was a, you know, I was a butcher for many years. So that definitely played a part in it too. So
nice. Then you can get some of the little authentic touch to it or whatever.
little cuts and whatnot, and trimmings and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you say they convert a cathedral into a butchery or something? I forget
Oh
what.
yeah. Well, a lot of the because there's like later on, like I have ideas, like I want to have the whole like meat packing district like kind of fleshed out later on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of cathedrals that have been retrofitted into slaughterhouses, but other things too. And I just thought that's fucking metal. You know what I mean? Like they just
Yeah.
visualizing like ooh. So I thought that was cool. You know, like Cleaver Cuts is the first one. Ratatouille Slaughters another one. Um, when I'm coloring these books, another thing that like the spaghetti westerns and the Hammer films were big influences on me, as well as the old Universal like black and white movies. Like, but like the color, man, like certain like Butch's, he goes home and his Cleaver Cuts, his house is the lighting in there, the color is green. You know, if you go to like the Voodoo Dolls place, it's gold and kind of purple and kind of royal. You know, you go to Whitey's place, it's more of a pink. Where it's just straight up like red, you know, slaughter like bad. I don't know. Um, so I don't know. I think that like color, like different places could have different colors sometimes.
Yeah.
Foods
Cool.
when you go into that world, you know. And I felt that way too, like with a lot of those like 70s movies and whatnot, 60s movies, the spaghetti
Yeah, they do that, don't they? Yeah, and like
Hammer,
Giallo will do that, and
Jalo
yeah,
too. Suspiria
yeah,
is a crazy one, but I don't know, you know, and just
yeah. So you do know a lot about movies. Like, so how does that go? By the way, real quick, Cam's here too. What's up, Cam?
Cam.
Everyone, let me know if you back it. We'll update it. Everyone, it's Narwhal Nuge if anyone backs this, and then we see the numbers go up. We all take a nice dopamine hit. It's a win-win. Even the chat gets massive dopamine when the numbers go up. That's all we want. That's how the AI will control us in the future, though. They just like will arbitrarily give us some situation where numbers are going up, and we'll all be like, "Ooh, whatever."
Yay!
Yeah. 15 people watching. People filtering in. Thanks for being here, everyone. We're going over Butch Cleaver from Matt here. It's a passion project. Looks really great. 120 pages up to now. The story will continue. It's all based on one character, which is the title of the book, and it's this world that he's made that looks really cool too. Lots of cool influences. Which we're talking a little bit about. That is like the film. Like everything will influence you, you know. But one of the things you're into is like film and how did that come about? How did you get into film and stuff?
Well, my dad, he was disabled, so he was at home a lot. But he could get up. He played the drums, this and that. But he taped a lot of stuff, and he was a big comic nerd like me. So he would tape. I mean, he would tape like Batman the animated series, X-Men, Gargoyles, all kinds of cartoons. He back in the '80s too, all the dope movies were on TV. You could watch RoboCop, Conan, and they were edited. I kind of wish that we had that for kids nowadays, like where they could have different softer, nerfed up versions. So as a young kid growing up in the '80s, I got to see all that stuff. For good or for bad, it just got me into movies at a young age. So just really inspired. And it was a good time for cinema, I think. And I don't know, man. Like I've just really been, I think, as a kid, very observant to like visuals, and music. I was really into like the Tim Burton movies as a kid. I know they're trendy now, but back then it was just I don't know, man. It really stuck to me. Dracula was a big hit with me. The Gary Oldman movie, I like that a lot. And I like the way they did the smoke and the mirrors with the old turn of the century camera tricks and whatnot. Evil Dead. I don't know. It just that This a lot of horror stuff, and just the whole like boldness of horror. Guillermo del Toro, that was another big, just discovering him in general, and he, from Blade 2. I saw Blade 2, and like, who's this Guillermo guy? And Norman Reedus is wearing a BPRD. What the fuck's BPRD? Oh, it's Hellboy. What the fuck's Hellboy? And then I go to there's a movie website where Guillermo del Toro is on the Hellboy movie website. Oh, it's like X-Files meets Indiana Jones meets this and that, and I got into that, and
Cool.
that was a big thing.
That's a fun story of like how, because I was gonna say like, how do you discover stuff? I'm wondering even for myself is like, so like I think probably my favorite movie. Sometimes it changes because you can like watch them so much that you get sick of them or whatever.
Yeah.
But probably the most like influential movie on me is the original Dawn of the Dead, and I remember, it was like the early, it was like high school or something, which was be early 2000s. There were still video rental stores that they didn't die till not too long ago, I think. So they're still around. And it wasn't even, I don't even think we rented DVDs. I think we were still renting VHSs then, I think. I'm trying to remember. So, but this would be like, year 2000 maybe or something. And we rented like, it was a sleepover with friends, maybe a birthday party, and I rented Dawn of the Dead and maybe one other, and I forget why, or maybe like the Psycho remake and Dawn of the Dead. I'm trying to remember, but one of them was Dawn of the Dead, and we all watched it, and all my friends were like, "Nice pick, Pear. That movie fucking sucked," and I was like, "Whatever, it was okay, I guess. I don't know." I didn't blow me away either. I was like, "Whatever," but then somehow I watch it again. And it just like grows on me. I watch it again and again and again. Now it's probably the movie I've seen the most. And I'm like, how did that happen? Like it totally, but that's a cool whole separate thing when movies can kind of grow on you, But,
oh yeah. Like become kind of like a character that in a weird way. For that, I remember that movie, like my grandpa and my uncle, they came over to our house because they used to live across the fence from us when I grew up as a kid. And they brought the movie over, and I saw it at a young age. We're all just watching as a family, because it was just like a fun movie, even though it's not, but we didn't take it too serious, Yeah. But I remember seeing that and just being like, damn, that's fucked up. Like that's a weird world, like that could, and he's like, oh, check out the biker zombies, because my uncle's a biker.
Yeah.
And they were both pretty much geniuses. I'm not, but he was a biker. So he really liked the biker scene. And I like the biker scene too, and I'm doing a biker book next. I don't know. It's funny. So just like Tom Savini, swinging through the mall. And like, that was what I didn't like about the remake with the Snyder one, even though it's a dope movie, but like, where are my bikers at, dude?
Yeah, they cut all that. Yeah. The structure is actually really cool. That's one of the reasons that like it stuck with me, because you actually can dig down and study it, and like it has really good writing, really good characters, and like I don't know what. Yeah, it's just like if you watch it at first, you'll be like, oh, it's an old movie. The blood is pink or something. And I watched they said in the making of on set, the blood wasn't pink. That was like the film, whatever, was picking it up pink. And so they're just like, well, that's kind of like bad luck almost. Like
pink blood's crazy. I mean, I gave Butch pink blood because he has an exoskeleton and he needs whiskey milk to survive because he needs the calcium from the milk. And then but he's drinking that before he dies. But I don't know. I just thought it was a cool little segue into back. Just telling you about that.
Yeah, I know, that's sweet.
It's funny shit.
Yeah.
There's something about the Evil Dead too had the weird yellow blood, like this gross, disgusting blood color. And I want to incorporate some of that. Same thing with Cronenberg's The Fly. Disgusting. But there's something about it, and I put that in some of the scenes because it's just kind of off, because I wanted this to be a horror but fun. You know what I mean?
And I like that vibe too. Yeah. So. Yeah, Evil Dead 2, I think they had a huge blood scene, and it was like going to get rated X or whatever, so they had to make the blood green, is the story I heard, I think.
It's even worse, right? When it's green? Like, I don't know. For me, it's like just weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, Evil Dead 2 is a fun one too. Like, I actually need to rewatch the original. Do you like have a preference, one you're more nostalgic for or whatever? Or?
I like them all because they just so Evil Dead 1 for me is just like a scary balls out horror movie, right? And like a couple of kids making a movie, in their high school, college. It's awesome story, right? Second movie is you got the splat stick, you got that Monty Python Three Stooges humor in there, and they get a little more of a budget, It's like, someone's in my fruit cellar, so you get some of that in there. and a little more monsters. So that's cool. And then with Army of Darkness, as there's that one's always kind of been my favorite in a way, just because I love the adventure, the superhero aspect of it. You know, he became a uber badass, and he's got the chainsaw, and in a weird way, that one's always going to be my favorite, even though it's not scary, but it's just badass. You know, and
I love that one too, and it's funny because it's kind of comic booky in a way. Like there aren't that many types of stories like that. Even I don't know. Even now there's maybe a little more, but at the time they made this like fun power fantasy superhero story that like just kind of out of the blue from a horror
kind of Howardian in some ways, you know what I mean, but not really, but something kind of a weird tales, you know what I mean, that you would read.
You know what else too is it kind of you could see the through line to Xena and Hercules a little bit.
And I used to watch that as a kid. Like there's so much shit I could tell you that I'm not even thinking right now, you know, that like influences, and I loved watching that. Like me and my dad and my mom, we'd always watch those, you know. And my dad liked Bruce Campbell, you know, and he'd pop up in the Sam Raimi movies. We'd like Darkman. That was a big influence, you know. He's popping up at the end with his face, you know.
Yep. Yeah, I got to rewatch Darkman too, but I remember that being a pretty cool movie. That's like comic booky too. That's supposedly maybe kind of what got him the Spider-Man job as Darkman.
Yeah, and he was going to do the Shadow too, because it's basically the Shadow in the Phantom of the Opera kind of. But I'm glad that neither of them got made, because I like Darkman a lot, you know. And it was just a cool, fun movie, and Danny Elfman's music, and I don't know, man.
I've been talking a few times on this channel. It's come up. We talk kind of about how movies age and whether or not they might have kind of these resurgences. And there's been a few. It seems like a 20-year thing where recently American Psycho totally got resurgence, get memed and whatever. It's a classic. But even Big Lebowski is kind of getting a resurgence. Some of these classics from the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s are kind of coming back now. But I even wonder, like Army of Darkness, that I could almost see that happening for. Yeah. And there is a line for when you're just talking about good Ash lines. The one I immediately thought of is when he goes, "Well, that's what we just call a pillow talk, baby."
Yeah, it's so funny, dude. I remember that was in the trailer. I think I was watching like Hercules and Xena, and the trailer just came out of nowhere for the movie. You know, as a kid, I was like, "What was that?" Like, I didn't even know what Evil Dead was, and I would buy Cracked. And the Crack magazine, they had Army of Darkness in their Evil Dead 3. I was like, what's Evil Dead 3? Oh, well, I'll put that on the back burner. So as a kid, I always knew I didn't know what Evil Dead was. I just knew what, you know, Army of Darkness was. And then later, you know, I don't know. It's crazy, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the TV show, though, too, man. I think, I bet you $5 that they will make another movie with Ash, another, you know, Evil Dead movie. Because he said, I'll do it again if Raimi comes back. And it's going to happen. I know it is. The TV show's fucking dope. I was ecstatic. All I wanted was like one more movie, but I got 3 seasons of Ash. Like I got more than what I needed.
Cool. Yeah, that's true. And you know, I haven't seen the TV show, and I love Evil Dead, but I read a few of the comics. I like those too. And I played the video games. I like those. He did the voice for the video games. Yeah.
Dude, Fistful of Boomstick is like the first season. So if you like that game, that's the first season of the TV show. It's fucking, and Mimi Rogers is in there, and then like there's a lot of, it's hard recommend. I got to go back and rewatch it, but it kind of gets kind of not as good towards the end, but it's still good, but not as good as that first season. That first episode, it really slaps because Raimi directs it.
Oh man, that's cool. Yeah, and it is funny too. The thing that they did with it is they made a pretty hilarious character where it's kind of still original. Like he's not likable. He's a total piece of shit. He's a total coward. Yeah. Well, and people love him.
And it's like he's saying shit that I say and think in real life, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm still human with him, you know, and he's probably my favorite character. Like, I gotta get all those books too, all the comics. Sorry, you're talking.
I'm trying to think like they have great directors' commentaries for all those DVDs. Yeah. I've listened to a lot of those, but I think one of them, because they're funny, but they're like they were bummed that they had to give him like a hero moment at the end of Army of Darkness. They just want him to be a piece of shit the whole way through, and I'm like, well, whatever. It's like the fact that he can go there as a character is like a good like once you set up that the character can do that. That's a great like freedom to give the character to give them like a lot of power. It's I guess you call it their range or something where
Oh yeah, definitely.
they like, and just the idea of them that they're actually kind of a coward is hilarious. Like,
Oh yeah, I
and
love
then
that.
forced to be kind of a
He's a fucking idiot. Like, you should see what he does in the TV show, you know. And he's even older. He's got to wear a what's the brace in the middle? I forgot what it's called. The man brace, you know, to suck in his gut, and he's got dentures, and he's even older, so it's even more fun. And he's got I don't know. I just love that stuff, you know.
That's funny. Do you ever see the one where he plays the guy who thinks he's Elvis Presley?
Oh yeah, Bubba Hotep. That's
Yeah.
another one. I saw that in the theater. Like, that's another movie. Fucking love that movie, man.
Yeah.
John Coscarelli, director of Phantasm, did it.
Oh, I didn't know Don Coscarelli did it. Yeah, that movie's legitimately great and like lots of heart and like
I did a
it's so
little
fun.
review on it on my channel, and I got an action figure of it, and they did a sequel, Bubba Nosferatu, and they were in a comic form, and they were supposed to do it, but it never, in a movie too, it never worked out. They actually filmed the movie like a city over from me, but it kind of doubled as Texas. Yeah, it's crazy, dude. I love that movie. I think that's his other best movie, I guess. His other
Yeah, because Phantasm's another classic, and all the sequels are pretty good for Phantasm too. The whole series is pretty fun.
Yeah.
That's kind of one where he expands it a little bit, like how you were talking about. Like, it's not like he's planning it the whole way, but each sequel expands in a fun way on the world or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I like Phantasm. I think they just, in the Tall Man, I don't know, man. Like, I actually have a character you'll see in Butch Cleaver called Condor Warlock. He's an eater of the dead. He's like the Undertaker of the town, and he works with that hunchback. And in the end of the second story, the hunchback has to run around the town and ring the bells in different cathedrals. But that's like another character I'd love to kind of explore. Because
cool.
like, I had to basically, like, you have Butch Cleaver, so if you understand what he is, who is he going to fight? He's either got to be a polar opposite or something even more visceral, you know?
Yeah.
So that was always kind of a hard thing to do, or at least have people like similar to him that could coexist with him. I don't know.
Yeah. That's cool. Even when you say that part of the story, that sounds really cool. That a hunchback has to run around and ring a bunch of bells. I love that. But yeah, it sounds great. 14 people watching, everyone. Definitely check this book out. If it strikes your fancy, give it a little purchase and a little read. Yeah, it's
also. I was gonna say too, the first 10 backers are gonna get a free sketch card too. So I got 6 left. So
cool. Yeah. So we're getting there. Yeah, it looks great. I will back it. I tried before the stream and I had like a little technical issue or something, so I'll back it later. But it looks great. I love it.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's fun because we've chatted here and there, but I honestly hadn't seen Butch Cleaver until today. Just the way things go or whatever. It's kind of a big scene, so
that's cool, man. And that's even more of a reason for me to like keep it out there, you know. And I thank God I've had 2 successful campaigns. About 100 people backed both books, but I know there's a lot of people out there that haven't seen it, you know. So that's why I got the store up, you know. And I just fulfilled my 4th book before I jumped on this show. Went to the post office right down the street from my house. So, you know,
cool
every day, guys. So thanks, man. I do appreciate you, Normal, for having me on, man. It was fun chatting with you, man. It's fun. The show is fucking awesome. I love to come in here and listen to it whenever I get a chance.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and Dark Gift, if hopefully you're still here because I want to give a shout out that Damn Dirty Thing is also available. And yeah, that's so everyone keep an eye out for that because that is another great one that Dark Gift just launched. Dark Gift's got a great channel too. Everyone subscribe to his channel. And yeah, so with that, I'll kind of start wrapping it up here. But just like 15 people watching. Everyone just know about this book. Know it's out there. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, and I got a superstition that if I update it and it doesn't go up, then a puppy/angel dies. So we can't update it. It's not worth it to risk it unless like someone in the chat's like, I just backed, free to do it. So keep your eye out. Yeah, and the kind of thing too, I feel like once the chat knows about it, it can kind of sit with them and they might back it later. So it's always good to get eyes on it. Just let people know. I'm glad we had a cool 15 people watching. A cool like group of people are watching, and Matt's a good guest. Good hanging and chilling with you.
You too, man. We gotta kick it some more.
Definitely. Cool. Well, let's be in touch. Hang out just a second. We'll say hi behind the scenes too, but I'm going to end the stream here.
For sure.
All right. Bye, everyone. I'm clicking the button.